everybody for coming, and we'll start with an opening statement by Coach Musselman on his recruiting class.
Well, first of all, we couldn't be more excited about the 3 young men that will be joining us next year in the 2016 class. Josh Hall and Kenny Wooten and DeVeral Ramsey, all 3 guys we think are going to be big-time building blocks for us as we look into the future. And couldn't be prouder of what the coaching staff did. The assistant coaches worked extremely hard. We had to cover a lot of ground in a short time frame, and to be recognized like we were by some of the publications this morning, I think makes a big-time statement to what Nevada basketball can look forward to in the future.
What was your biggest challenge stepping into this, with the limitations of time and everything? What was your biggest challenge?
I think the biggest challenge is any time you take over a new program is you got to hire a staff, and then in a short amount of time, you have to hit the recruiting trail, get your own players, staying around and being a part of your program. But the big thing was really just the big thing really was trying to get involved with the 16 class as quick as we could, because again, we were behind. A lot of those players have been recruited as sophomores and juniors, and so we were playing catch up, and we made a lot of ground in a short amount of time.
What's the thing you like most about the class?
I think all 3 players fit into what we're trying to do from a style of play. Kenny Wooten's a guy that is a great shot blocker, can run the floor, can rim protect, has great athleticism. DeVeral Ramsey is a guy that's got, in our opinion, he's as fast as any point guard in the entire country. He's one of the fastest point guards on the West Coast. He's one, if not the fastest player in the country. And we want to try to play at a fast tempo. And so I think that any time that you can get a point guard with his elite speed, that's what we need in our program. And then when you look at a guy like Josh, he's going to be able to play so many different positions for us. And then with all 3 of these guys, they really, really wanted to be here. And it didn't take a lot of convincing. We showed them what the university was about. We had to meet with administrators. We had to meet with our academic people. We laid out a plan for them as young men academically, and a plan for them on the basketball floor. And they were bought in. I mean, all 3 of those guys, before they left campus, told us that they wanted to be here. And so I think that's the thing that we're most excited about is every time we text or phone call all 3 of these young men, they hit us back immediately, and they're all in with 2 feet. And I think that's really important for us as a new program.
I think a lot of fans have said, how is this possible? How did you guys get such a good class in such a little period of time? I guess, how were you guys able to put this class together?
Well, I think the university has so much to sell, and then we laid out a vision of what our practice facility is going to look like, and what we want, where we want to be in years 2 and years 3 and years 4 when these guys will be playing for us. So I think that they could see the vision. Their parents or family members could see the vision that we were trying to sell, and then it's our job as a coaching staff to try to develop them as basketball players. And they're 3 freshmen that have a lot of upside, and they're going to get a lot better, the more time that we can get our hands on them and work with them.
Don't want to overlook Sam Williams coming home, local product. What do you expect of him?
Well, Sam's a guy that can play multiple positions. He can play the 3, the 4, the 2. He's obviously proven at the junior college level. He's one of the best scorers in all of California, one of the best scorers in junior college across the country. And perimeter shooting, anytime that you can have a guy at his size and athleticism that can knock down perimeter jump shots and post up a little bit and run the floor, again, I think he's another guy that's going to fit in perfectly. When you look at the 3 guys that we have sitting out this year as transfers, and then you add Sam, those 4 guys all have experience to go with our young guys, and then the 2 freshmen that we have that are in uniform and playing for us this year. I think that, again, we have a very, very bright future as long as everybody continues to work hard.
Do you feel like your class is done, or is there still more spots to add, guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we want to continue to search and look, and everything's got to be about fit and find somebody, if we would find another player that would fit and want to buy in and be a part of what we're doing. And the one thing that we've all learned in a short period of time is it's not worth trying to continually coax a player or to convince a player to come here. We want guys that really want to be here. We think the university's got a ton to offer. We think that the guys that they'd be playing with have a lot to offer because they're unselfish. So it's all about guys that want to play. And if we find another guy that's a high-level player, I think that we could find a way for him to be a part of our program.
This trip to Hawaii, just to get out there and play somebody else for real now. Just your thoughts on making that trip?
Well, I think it's a great test for us because we're going to play 3 games in 4 days. We're playing against a team to start off with on Friday that has won 20-plus games back-to-back years. They're two-time NCAA tournament team. They're projected to be an NCAA tournament team this year. So we look at it as a great opportunity. We have unbelievable respect for Coastal Carolina. Coach Ellis is one of the best coaches in college basketball. He's got great experience, and they have a lot of returning players. So we have our work cut out for us Friday, and then we'll get an opportunity to watch Montana State play and then play them Saturday, and then have an ESPN 2 game on Monday against Hawaii, which is the host team, and they have always been a very difficult team to play in their own building. And they're a team that some predict to win the Big West, and they have a lot of returners as well. So I think it's a great test for our team. And to be able to play 3 games in 4 nights, the thing that our coaching staff's most excited about is we're going to be able to get them from a preparation standpoint, scouting reports and all those type of things. It's very similar to what you would do in conference play. So I think it gives us a very early test of what it would be like if, in fact, you were ever able to advance in the Mountain West tournament at the end of the year.
What about the fact you guys are going to be together for like 7 days on the road? I mean, that could really bring a team together.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've done a ton of team bonding. I think the guys are looking forward to playing somebody different. And then obviously to be able to do it in a place like Hawaii, I think it's a great experience for them. But this is obviously a business trip for us, and we'll approach it as such with the guys. And I think they're looking forward to getting on an airplane and playing somebody else.
Why is Coastal Carolina been so good the past couple of years? What is it about their team that stands out to you the most?
Well coached. They play really, really hard. They execute both offensively and defensively, and they have guys that can create their own shot. The kid Wilson is a guy that can score at will. He's got great range. They have a guy off the bench in Traps who can make threes. And then they have a power forward who's basically a multi-positional guy who can make threes and beat people off the bounce. So, and then they have a lead guard, a point guard that is one of the best assist-to-turnover ratio in the country. So, they got a lot of weapons, and they're deep. They have a transfer from South Carolina who's a great athlete and can really get to the rim and a high free throw attempt player.
You guys start with 4 games on the road. I don't think that's anybody's perfect scenario. I guess what do you think about that challenge facing your team?
I think anytime you could be Kansas, you could be Kentucky, anytime you have to open 4 straight on the road, it's difficult. It's not an ideal situation. But having said that, if you want to have a successful season, you got to figure out a way to win on the road. And I think we understand there's a lot of tests, and even coming back from Hawaii, we don't have a lot of time because we get back late at night, almost midnight on Tuesday, and then we have to start our preparation for Pacific on Wednesday, and we get to prep Wednesday, Thursday, and get back on a bus and head up there Friday for a Saturday game. So we have our work cut out for us early, but we're looking forward to the challenge, and I think the players are as well.
How important is it for this team to get out to a good start just based on what they've been through in the past and what the losing culture you're trying to change?
I mean, we want to get off to a good start. There's no doubt about it, but we also have to put everything in perspective based on, not playing a game in our own building out of our first 4. So it's a challenge, but couple of those games are neutral site games, and I think, the biggest thing with our team is we want to try to continue to grow throughout the season. And, we have to get better on game 2, and we got to get better on game 3, and we have to figure out where our deficiencies are. And it's new. It's a new staff. It's new players. So, we're not going to be a finished product come Friday night, but we got to get better each and every time that we hit the floor.
You like where your team is it enters its first game?
Yeah, I think that, all coaching staffs are perfectionists, and you always want to try to get better, and you always, see holes in your team or your system. But having said that, we feel that our guys really are anxious to play a game, and hopefully they'll be composed. And the 2 exhibition games, we hope, got some of the early jitters out. I do think our team was nervous against Dominican to start the game, which is good. They didn't come out and take Dominican lightly, and they didn't take Alaska lightly, and so I think that that's good. We respect every opponent, and I think that when they're on edge, that's a good thing. And I'm sure that we'll be a little bit nervous, and there'll be some butterflies before the game against Coastal Carolina as well.
No more questions for Coach? Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, everybody, for coming. Thank you. Good luck, Coach. Thanks, you guys.
Next, we'll have Ms. Basketball Coach Jane Albright.
Good morning. Yeah, we're really excited to announce what we've termed the Lone Wolf today. We may be adding a couple more people, but no one at this point. And that Lone Wolf is Desiree Gonzalez. She's a member of the native tribe of Navajo. She's a Navajo from Kingsman, Arizona. I saw her play last spring when I was watching Vegas Elite, a team out of Vegas, obviously, that we watch a lot to make sure that we're getting the eyes on the right players. And she, had driven in, and that's what the team she had elected to play for. So we watched her play a lot last summer. Obviously, she's instant offense. You don't average 30 points a game and not be able to put the ball in the hoop. She also averaged 10, 11 rebounds, something like that. She's been Player of the Year in the state in her division her sophomore and junior year. She hasn't even played her senior year yet. So a prolific scorer. And as we continue to grow in the Mountain West, we know that the three-pointer is something that's really important. She's a big guard. She's 5'11", and really can do a lot of things. But what she does best is, I would say, is definitely hit the three-pointer or just score from the free throw line. She's a great student. She fits in with a culture. I think I don't know, I maybe remember seeing a B or something on her transcript if she had one, but she's a leader in her school. She's in a lot of organizations. Missy and Danny, her parents are wonderful. When Camille and I went and did a home visit with her and, got to have a batch of not Navajo tacos, so that was a plus to get to have some good food. But just really, really excited about her. Our team now we're kind of, post-wise, I expect that we will sign a post either later this week or in the spring. For sure we will do that. We just have our eyes on one particular person right now, and then it may be a late signing if we don't get that person. So also looking at a transfer student, and that'll be it. So probably 3 in this class when it's complete, but this is a great one to start it with.
Did your relationship with Connie and that whole experience help in this recruiting process?
I think it did. I think I understood Desiree being a little quieter, a little, normally when you think of somebody scoring 30 points a game there, you think, wow, they're going to be have a little bit of, she's not like that at all. She's more like Tani, very humble, so I understood her, I think, from that. And we certainly had Tani talk with her a lot on the visit, and we were able to show her the platform that we use for Tani with the N7 and all the different, our interest in natives and mourning being here and that type of thing. So I think her comfort level was very, very high with that.
Did you specifically go out looking for a three-point shooter scorer?
No, I was actually watching a post player on the other court, and I looked over and saw her, and you just try to get the best players you can, and then we know that we always need more three-point shooters. This year, I think that will be the biggest difference you'll see in our team is that we've gotten them now, but you have to have them. If you look at Colorado State, who won the league, they got a whole slew of them. So she certainly fits in with that philosophy. And she could play the 4 also. We probably won't have her do that, but she is 5'11". Scoring covers a multitude of, for the whole team. It covers a lot of eras in a lot of ways. And again, being able to score, I've signed in my career a handful of 30-point scores in high school, but they've all gone on to just, if you can score that many points, because people, you're playing against box and one, you're playing against people trying to shut you down, and she's able to keep scoring.
Since we got you here, we heard the news about Timo. I guess, how do you think that affects your team this year, and how have they taken that news?
Well, we had some practice in taking it from last year, and we didn't take it very well. I think that the huge difference is that the maturity of T this year is very, very high, and our team is a lot better around her. This time last year, we knew we didn't have we had lost Ari and Danica to graduation, so Timo was our only returning guard with any playing time. That's not the case this year, so our team has really, we are very sad for her, but we know she's a really strong person and she'll be back, and our team is better, so we've already had the talk of it isn't going to be like it was last year. We will not change what we want to do for the year.
No questions for Coach?
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, guys, next up will be Shantel Twiggs for track and cross country.
Hello, everyone. We're very excited about this recruiting class. This is probably one of our best recruiting classes during the early signing period, probably for me ever. We tended to sign kids, our better classes tended to happen later in the second signing period, and for sure, we've got a little bit of who's who in track and field. As a young assistant starting out, my former boss used to always say to us, his staff, he would say, "You're only as good as the people that you surround yourself with, and you're only as good as your last recruiting class." Well, our recruiting class is what we need to make the next step as we move forward in the Mountain West. It is very international heavy, but we need those kind of heavy hitters to get in and score points and move up conference and national standings as we continue to move forward. We have 5 internationals in this class, and we also have 2 mid-years. One is a name that you may recognize because she's been on our roster before, and had to just set out for a year, went home, and is coming back to join us. In the recruiting class, I'd like to start off with Franziska Kent. She's a German long hurdler, 400 hurdler, has a PR of 59.71, a kid who is going to score automatic points for us at our conference championships, the kind of kid that you could see standing on the medal, getting a medal at the conference championships, which is the top 3, as well as, she makes the NCAA first round. So you're moving in the right circles when your recruiting class includes kids who are going to make the NCAA first round and possibly have a shot at scoring in the top 3 in your conference. Zoe Finch is our lone Englishman from a small town in the English Channel. It's kind of an interesting story how she came about, but she's a young developing javelin thrower. If you know anything about the history of our program, we tend to be javelin heavy. Kids that tend to make our national final have been javelin throwers. We've been very blessed in that manner, and we think that she's going to be the new face of Nevada track and field as far as our javelin throwers are concerned. Hailey Dobbs, one of our top distance runners that we've recruited and signed in quite a long time. She helped us in so many different ways, from cross country, all through indoor and outdoor track as far as mid distance, and she's shown strong abilities to move up. As you know, you're recruiting kids, you want kids with versatility. You want kids who are willing to go out and work hard. You want kids who want the will to win. And Hailey Dobbs is one of those kids. You know, me and Kirk were talking, my assistant were talking about this young lady, and one of the things that we talked about was that she went up and decided to try a 10,000. Now, that's 6.2 miles, and most high school kids are not just going up and trying a 10,000. It just so happened that her high school, the teachers were on strike. There were no competitions, so she just goes and enters into a 10,000 and runs 37:18. Not bad, not bad. That's a kid who's got range, and that's a kid who's not afraid. I mean, we usually have to, like, you know, walk them through a 10,000, and a kid that is willing to just go and try it and come out so successful, we've got ourselves a good sign. Delaney White. Delaney is from Santa Rosa, California. The thing I like about Delaney is, you know, she improved on a course that we're familiar with at the collegiate level, and that's Stanford. And at Stanford, she improved, I think, about 45 seconds, ran under 18 minutes for 5,000 meters over at Stanford, and that's not an easy flat course. It's lots of hills. And so when you're looking at trying to fill a lot of spots, I mean, we're losing MK and Kaylin Devitt Payne, and we need bangers to step in there, and we just got two with Hailey Dobbs and Delaney White. Tegan Wilson is a mid-year transfer from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And she helps us out in the short sprints, just continues to help us with our depth in the short sprints. So she'll be joining us here in January. We hope to see her competing indoors and for sure outdoors. She'll be a kid that'll help us on the relays and in the short sprints. And I like her attitude. She also has World Youth international competition, so not just in her province of Alberta, Canada, but she's gotten a chance to and made the World Youth team for Canada. And so you cannot trade that kind of experience. She's used to seeing all kinds of kids, all kinds of competitors, and I think she's what we need as we continue to move forward in the Mountain West. Adriana Barrett is another middle distance cross-country runner from Petaluma, California. She continues to add the much needed depth that we need. We're looking forward to seeing her continue to excel. You know, the three kids that we have in this signing class, they continue to just make this incline up. I mean, it's like this ascension. And that's what you want as a coach. You want kids on the top of their game to be a part of your program. And Coach Elias has done a wonderful job in making sure that we got the right kids in the right place so we continue to move up in the Mountain West standings. Then another mid-year transfer who's returning to our roster, Rafaela Wiesbeck. She returns to our roster. If you can remember, she threw about 156 feet in 2014 when she was on our team, is ranked number 7th on our all-time list. NCAA qualifier, won the silver medal at the Mountain West Championships. And so we are really looking for that major sweep in the javelin. I'm going out there. We're looking for that major sweep in the javelin. And it's about time that the record fell, and we've got the people who can do it. Now, Wiesbeck is running out of clock time, so she'll only be on our roster finishing up her eligibility, but it was a great move for us, and we're excited to have her back. And we also round out this recruiting class right now with Emma Hickman. She's a young developing thrower from Oregon. And I think she just continues to learn and progress and build momentum. And I think that she's, set to have a major significant improvements in her senior year and will help us round out our throwing program. The truth is that the Mountain West, from top to bottom in every event, is good. Probably the event that we've got the handle on the most right now is maybe in the javelin. We just decided to throw some money in the javelin, get good javelin kids so we can score a bunch of points. And it's nothing better than to have the 1 through 4 suite. Nothing better than to have that. We saw something similar to that in 2013 in the women's 60 when we went 2 through 5. That was a major sweep and a bunch of points for our program. You know, as I started off my interview here, I said that you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. And I'm lucky that I surrounded myself with 2 very hardworking assistants in Kirk Elias and Scott Williamson. And without their efforts on a daily basis, emailing and calling and Skype calling and, you know, video chatting and Facebook, you know, communication, to make sure that we get the right kids to put the points on the board at the Mountain West and move up conference standings, I couldn't ask for anything more. Thank you.
Got some questions for Coach?
Like you said, 5 international student athletes. Is that pretty regular with your roster? And I guess what led to those relationships and, you know, being able to get people to come over here?
You know, it is turning into that, except for we've just had a smitten of Germans, a smitten of Polish. I think we've had an Australian on our team, a couple Swedes on our team. And it, you know, the thing is you do a good job, right? You treat people right, and then the next group of kids that come through, you're more likely to get. We've done a fabulous job. Scott Williamson, we've been sending him up to the Canadian Junior or Youth Championships the last few years, so we're really developing those relationships. This summer, a couple of summers ago, we sent Scott and Kirk up to out to Europe to again try to, you know, get those relationships going so that we can get some of the top best kids in the world to be a part of our program here at Nevada. And what we're trying to do is we're just looking at where we are as a program at Nevada in the Mountain West. We're looking at our strengths, our weaknesses, and how we can build upon that. And you know, if we can get a 5971 kid and they're willing to give it a shot and come to Nevada and want to compete at Nevada, then we're going to take it, you know. And it just so happens that she comes from Germany. If we could get a kid like that from the U.S., we would go after that kid. But I think Coach Musselman said it before, we're not going to beg and plead because it's important to have people that want to be here. Because this is a grind. You know, I mean, it's truly a 12-month grind. For track and field, if you're a distance runner, you start in August. Now, that is just season when NCAA says we can begin. Right? So they don't get us, their summer is spent trying to get themselves ready for August. And then these kids, if they're good enough, they go all the way to the second week of June. And then if they're even better than that, then they're going to U.S. championships and possibly this year with the Olympic trials. And so trying to find the right kids who want to do that, first off, who want to do it here, who believe in team, who believe in our culture, our mission. And it just so happens right now it tends to be a little international heavy. We do expect a few more recruits, hopefully some local recruits, but only time will tell on that.
You had mentioned to start off that typically you sign your better classes late in the period. I guess what led to, you know, being able to get people earlier in the period, and that's a good feeling to know that, you know, you still have, you know, time to get better people, but, you know, you filled it up early with some good, you know, caliber student athletes.
You know, my staff made a mad dash. If you know anything about our cross-country program, you know that the team that we fielded at the Mountain West Championship was very top-heavy seniors. And so there is a big push, obviously, because you've got to recruit that kind of talent, and you got to recruit it fast. And so, you know, we kind of changed a few things in the way we approached it, but yet and still we just stayed after it. We just stayed tenacious. You know, Kirk's been bringing recruits in every single weekend. You know, we've been making sure that our kids have done a great job of hosting. But we show them we're true, we're real. You know, we don't put on a dog and pony show. We show them what Nevada's about and what it means to wear the silver and blue, and they bought in. That's the biggest battle, is getting kids to buy in. And they just bought in earlier. You know, and I think too what's happened as well is that we've put a major emphasis on trying to sign on the November date, right? So, you know, before we kind of let the kids kind of mold and, you know, swing, but we've kind of put that emphasis on trying to sign on that November date because I don't know what kind of money is going to be left when April comes.
Anything else for Coach?
Thank you.
First year head volleyball coach Lee Nelson. Coach Nelson's gonna make a statement really quick, and then he'll take questions.
Okay, good morning. We're thrilled about this year's recruiting class. It's a little bit smaller at this point than we anticipated. We have a few kids that are still out that have verbally committed to us, but until they obviously sign the document, we can't discuss them. But the player we do have that is coming is Camille Davey. She's out of Laguna Beach. That's her club. Very good libero, very good defender, very good passer, and aggressive player. So she's going to be, I think, a very good player for us. We always talk about in practice about winning the serve and pass battle, and she's the kind of player that can do both those things. She's a great passer, and I think will immediately come in and help stabilize the fact that we're graduating some players, and will help us a bunch. So we're really excited that she's going to be here. I'm sorry? Okay, we just got some documentation on Isla Fresenius, who is a teammate of Camille in Laguna Beach. She's another player that passes the ball really well. That's one of the reasons we went after her. She's going to help us with there a bunch. She's also a very competitive player. She played high-level tennis when she was younger, and I think that helped instill in her a sense of how to compete, and that will help us a ton. She just, that's who she is. That's how she does it. She's got a live arm, and she'll help us a lot there. She'll be able to terminate some balls when we are out of system, and she has a great court sense. I think that some of that comes from her time as a tennis player as well. She sees the ball, she sees the play before it happens and anticipates, and doesn't seem to ever be surprised. Sometimes she's making plays. It's almost like the other team told her what they were going to do, and that's a nice thing to have. So those two right away help us with our passing, and will help us with our offense and be able to side out. So.
How many more players do you anticipate?
We're going to potentially have 2 walk-ons and then 2 more kids that we think are going to sign. Yeah. So, Shayla, okay, so they're just coming in as we go. I'm not going to leave this table. We could have 6 by the time I get out here. Shayla Heft is a middle blocker out of Hawaii. She's about 6'2". She's playing a little bit of outside hitter for her high school team, but she'll likely be in the middle for us. Though, with her athleticism, she could potentially end up being on the outside or the right side. We're really not sure. She's has just boatloads of potential. Very thoughtful player, hardworking player. Not really a big celebrator out on the court, but very focused on what she's doing. She brings a physicality that will help us a bunch immediately. So she'll come in and start battling for a spot right away. So we're pretty excited about those 3 for sure. Anybody else? We get our 4th player? No? Okay. Well, I'm not going anywhere. Yeah, but wait. Yeah. So that's our group.
Coach, we've seen improvements with this program this year. At the beginning of the year, you were realistic. You said, I don't know about going out and winning a national championship right now, but you wanted to make strides. Is it where you hoped you would be?
I think we're going in that direction. It's hard to look back over the season yet because we've got Utah State tomorrow, we got Boise on Saturday, and it's really hard to not focus on what you're doing in the next 24 hours. But how we played this last week, I feel like we've really been moving forward. We got a Player of the Week in Madison Morel last week. She had some great numbers against 2 teams that have beat on us pretty consistently. I think that's the first time we've beat UNLV in a decade, and we handled both those teams. They're both good teams, and we played pretty well. So I'm not sure if we're exactly where I wanted us to be, but I feel like we're absolutely going in the right direction. The players have bought in. They're working hard, and they're competing, and that was the key. Hey, we weren't going to talk a lot about wins and losses, but how hard can we go out on the floor? And I think the wins and losses come with that. So we're making strides for sure. Yeah.
The first 2 you mentioned were teammates. Were they a bit of a package deal, or how did you get them both coming?
I think that helps. We liked them both independently. Had one been from, Sweden and the other one from Brazil, we would have gone after both of them anyway. We got a chance to watch them both a bunch, and they played really well together. I think they kind of fed off each other, and they both were really good at passing the ball, which, when you start thinking about those 2 together for 4 years, you start imagining, hey, we're really going to be able to run our offense. We have some real good pieces already in play with the team currently that's going to return, and adding some players like that, it just hey, they were doing some good things in club. Let's see if we can continue that, for the next 4 years.
How have the improvements you guys have made as a team this year benefited in recruiting and kind of show proof that this is going in the right direction?
That's a good question. I think part of our success is just the character of the players on the team. We get recruits up here, and we have a great team that they like, and that's a big part in women's volleyball. You want to be able to see yourself in a situation where you're going to feel comfortable and like your teammates, and I think our group is very good at that. As a coach, you're talking about the improvement of the team, and you say, hey, this is what we want to do, and that's great. But if you're not actually doing anything, that kind of loses its weight pretty quickly. So the fact we're able to put together some good wins, beat a top 25 team, that's something that it's a little bit easier to talk about. It gives you some good points to make. So I think that helps. But I think we have to give credit to, my assistants. Megan has been great as our recruiting coordinator. Tyson's put in a lot of good time. And then our team, they're really good when we get kids up here on a visit. I really like our chance of getting them to commit if we can get them on campus, and that's the key. And we've had pretty good success with that.